Right now, there's a decent chance you're drinking or about to. And the last time you had a beer or a glass of wine, you probably didn't think twice about it. But what you did is one of the oldest things a human being can do. Older than writing, older than farming. It actually predates our own species entirely. Our relationship with alcohol doesn't start a few thousand years ago with the invention of wine. It starts about 10 million years ago on a forest floor in Africa with a small primate picking up a piece of fruit that had been sitting on the ground a little too long.
The ground, natural sugars start breaking down. Yeast moves in, fermentation begins, and the fruit produces small amounts of ethanol. When early primates ate that fruit, it made them feel a little drunk. They had no idea why, it just felt good. So they kept coming back for more. Over millions of years, our ancestors evolved to actively seek alcohol out. By the time actual humans showed up, the taste for it was already built in. So when did we figure out how to make it on purpose? In 2018, archaeologists excavating a cave near Haifa, Israel, found stone mortars carved into the bedrock, used by a group called the Natufians about 13,000 years ago. Residue analysis showed traces of wheat and barley that had been soaked, germinated, and left to ferment. That's beer, brewed in a cave 13,000 years ago. Here's what makes that important. The Natufians weren't farmers yet. They found the barley wild, and brewing it was apparently important enough to figure out first. The old story goes, humans settled down, farmed, built villages, then discovered fermentation.
This flips that completely. These people were brewing while still nomadic. About 1,000 years later, someone in southeastern Turkey built something enormous. At a site called Göbekli Tepe, massive stone pillars, some over 10 tons, arranged in careful circles and carved with animal imagery, built before farming, before pottery, before permanent homes existed in the region. For years, nobody could explain why nomadic hunter-gatherers would organize the labor to move 10-ton stones up a hill. Then, researchers found large stone vats at the site, and chemical testing revealed traces of fermented grain, enough for large gatherings. The leading theory now is that this wasn't a home. It was a gathering place for ritual and feasting, drawing people from across the region to come together and drink.
Which raises an old debate. Why did humans start farming in the first place? One leading expert on ancient alcohol has spent decades arguing that humans didn't start farming to make bread. They started farming to make beer. His reasoning? Bread requires grinding, kneading, and baking, a complex process. Beer is simpler. Soak grain in water, leave it alone, and fermentation does the rest. If he's right, alcohol didn't show up after we settled down. It might be the reason we settled down at all. By around 7000 BCE, at a Neolithic village in central China, archaeologists found pottery jars containing residue from a fermented drink made of rice, honey, grapes, and hawthorn berries. This is the oldest confirmed alcohol recipe in the world, a deliberate blend of multiple ingredients. Whoever made it knew exactly what they were doing.
By the time ancient Egypt rolled around, beer was structural. Workers who built the pyramids were paid in beer, roughly 4 to 5 liters a day, as their actual salary. Nile water was often contaminated, but beer was safer to drink, so it kept people alive in a way water couldn't. It also added calories that mattered for laborers dragging limestone blocks in desert heat. Beer wasn't just a drink, it was lunch. And there was a religious layer too. Egyptians believed beer was a gift from the god Osiris. It showed up in temple offerings, burial rituals, and medical prescriptions. Doctors mixed herbs into it for everything from stomach problems to infections. One drink was doing the job of a paycheck, a water filter, a meal, a medicine, and a prayer, all from the same cup.
So here's the full picture. 10 million years ago, your ancestors were drawn to fermented fruit because it helped them find food. 13,000 years ago, they were deliberately brewing in caves before they even knew how to farm. 12,000 years ago, they may have built the first monuments in human history just to have somewhere to drink together. 9,000 years ago, they had actual recipes. 5,000 years ago, entire civilizations ran on it. Alcohol didn't come after we built civilization. There's a real chance it's the reason we built it at all. Every time you have a drink, you're continuing something that started before our species even had a name for itself. The process changed, the ingredients improved, the cups got fancier, but the impulse is the exact same one that made a small primate reach for an overripe piece of fruit on a forest floor 10 million years ago. We just eventually learned how to make it on purpose.